Everyone, welcome back to ITK Podcast. We are Chit Chat, and this is your host Tarkan.
And this is your co-host Lara. And hooray, we have connected on Zoom with an amazing guest. He carries a heart-charging and passionate drive for success. It's our pleasure to introduce Mr.Eray Altunbozar, AirCar Corporation Founder.
Hello.
Mr. Altunbozar, I have to take a moment right here to thank you so much for making the time to meet us today.
It's my pleasure.
Let's start talking about where are you from and how did you end up in AirCar?
I'm from Istanbul, and the AirCar idea was born in 2017. I'm an entrepreneur. I had two other startups, but they were relatively lower tech level startups. In 2017, I was looking more involvement in sustainable transportation, and I realized it's time to start flying passengers around because I really don't like traffic, just like everyone. I think it's waste of time, and the technology is enough, matured enough so we can enable sustainable air mobility. So in late 2017, I started AirCar. There were a couple of other companies around the world. So I said it's right time to start so we can fly up in cities and not waste time sitting in cars. So the initial idea was to be able to make urban air mobility to embed it in our daily lives. So this was the brief story of AirCar.
Thank you for your answer. As you mentioned, you have had other projects. You're also the co-founder of Outliers Notebook tech company. Alara, did you know that Outliers Notebook is a micro-erase notebook?
Oh my God, is it like let everything cool a bit, then take it out to see the pages are blank and ready to be reused? That is super cool.
Absolutely, that is. So, Mr. Altunbozar, can we call you as green in the sense that your politics are green?
Oh yes, any company or any product that I develop, my initial idea is to be able to make people's life a little bit easier, and of course to make it sustainable because we have one home, one earth, and we have to preserve our natural resources. So this is my first priority, to make any product sustainable and then make it cool, just like Outliers Notebook.
It's great to be eco-friendly. We all need to be taking effective steps towards a more sustainable lifestyle. We can use less water and switch to reusable products as an example of Outliers Notebook. Guys, please Google it.
Everyone, look up sustainable, please. Let's continue with the AirCar. How is this a car? I mean, is it that classic idea of a car that could somehow fly?
The idea that initially flying car comes from 1920s. So people try to put wings to cars and they try to fly them, just to use them on road and make them flyable. But the technology was not there. It never became a reality. In 2005, we start seeing drones. So the lithium-ion batteries or the battery technologies and the controller technologies matured. And then these drones, initially, they were not that mature. After 2010, 15, with the Tesla pushing the batteries or sustainable cars forward, we come up with an idea to make drones as large as enough so we can carry passengers. It's just like a large drone. The AirCar concept does not use wings. There are other types they use wings. Rather than we have propellers, and the propellers act like wings and produce thrust. And the idea is to be able to get inside an AirCar and then go from point to point, and it's fully electrical. It is enough battery power that can fly up to like 50 kilometers without traffic and then get recharged while we exchange customers. So this is the idea, to be able to eliminate traffic and then go where we want to go if there's a traffic. If there's no traffic, cars are fine. But if there's a traffic, I live in Istanbul, sometimes it's really a problem to be able to go to the airport or to be able to pass the Bosporus. So in that manner, it makes sense. So you can think it as a small helicopter or a large drone. It just sits between there.
Yeah, but by the way, I read many journal articles about flying cars, and they all have one thing in common. Flying cars have a major role in sustainable transport for trips. What is the role of flying cars in sustainable mobility?
The initial idea is to be able to make them electric. And sometimes there are skepticism about electricity, where it comes from. It doesn't happen by itself. Sometimes you buy we burn oil to produce electricity. So it's a gray area. But the thing is, we can get energy from sun or wind or natural resources to be able to produce electricity. So there's an alternative than burning gas or burning coal to produce electricity. So once something is electrical, we know we can make it almost 100% sustainable. So this is the idea. And a new industry is coming. So we could be able to make it with gasoline powered, and we could be able to fly 200 kilometers rather than 50 kilometers. But we know if we stick to be able to make it sustainable in long term, we will have more alternative resources to be able to produce electricity. So if we start with electric, we compromise on flight performance initially, but in long term, we will be able to advance the technology and switch to almost 100% renewable resources. So the electric idea comes from there. So at the beginning, as an industry, we want this to be green.
We are impressed.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. I was really curious about this question. The government has an undeniable role in private car safety and regulation. Without some regulations, flying car companies have to come up with their own rules, I guess. Who is going to manage their use in public safety?
The aviation safety is guaranteed by two major agencies. One is in the United States called Federal Aviation Administration. And in Europe, it's called EASA, European Aviation Safety Agency. They ensure the quality of the aircrafts. So you have a certification phase to comply with the regulatory framework. And if you get certified in either one, you will be able to fly like 90% of the world. So Turkey is connected to EASA. So the idea is to be able to come up with a product design that is safe enough so we can get approval from these two major agencies. And the rules are really strict. We have to comply with them. We have to demonstrate every part that they are safe and sound. So by the way, the regulations are almost in place, but no one could be able to come up with a design that is 100% safe. So we are all working on it. So it's a process. It takes 3-4 years mostly. So we can expect by 2024, 2025, we will get the certification. And once we get the certification, it is classified as small helicopter. So if a helicopter can fly up in cities, we will be able to fly. To make it autonomous, that's a different story.
Yeah, we got it. So now I'm so excited about this question because I'm a New York lover. And I wanted to ask, where will it land? Like, I picture skyports located on the tops of the buildings in my mind. Maybe increasing numbers of flying cars will change the layout of our cities. What do you think?
It's going to be point to point. So we will fly from a contained area. So we're not going to be able to land on street if it is not an emergency. So it's not going to work like that. We're going to take off from a point that will be a secure and contained area. It can be on top of buildings. It can be on the sidewalk, whatever. Or it can be on water, at the coast. It will depend. But the main idea is to be able to make it point to point. Because what we can do is that at that point, we can put a charger, we can make an safe landing, and we can calculate the risk to going from one point to other point. So we know where to go, we know if there's a building in front of us, we know where the bird flies, in cities, the air changes because of the buildings, airflow. We know what happens, so we can mitigate the risk from going point to point, and we can actually use artificial intelligence so we can make it autonomous because we can train from point to point. We know the buildings, everything. We don't even need a GPS because the camera knows where they are. They can check the buildings. So the landscape will change small by small steps. And there will be a lot of small ports so we can land and take off. And of course, the noise is a little bit problem. So we need to watch that too. A lot of people complain about helicopters. We are 10 times less noisy, but still we need to watch it. We need to consider that as well when we choose the ports. So the initial idea will be like that. in 2040, maybe in 2045, we will be able to buy our own air cars and fly up from our buildings. But the initial idea will be there will be ports.
Thank you.
You mentioned charging at these ports, but how will this vehicle be charged exactly? Will there be personal charging stations, maybe?
No, probably we will manage the chargers. They just get charged like electrical vehicles. They use 400-volt system. There will be, that's called DC-DC chargers. So when we land the air car, between exchanging the passengers, we will have like 5 minutes to 10 minutes. We recharge the aircraft and make it ready for the next passenger.
As the traveling methods change with this vehicle, what kind of difference will that make with the tracking and identification of the vehicle? Or do you think there could be some kind of air security?
There will be air security for sure. Cars are not connected. Now we try to make them connected so they can know each other. They know where it breaks. So we try to prevent the accidents. With this system is coming new. So we are trying to embed all the technology, including satellite communication, ground communication. Each vehicle communicates with each other. We know where they are, so we don't collide up in air. And the ground station can watch and track us. So each aircraft will have a unique ID. And we will be, even as an operator, we will be monitoring each aircraft like every second, and we will give this data to ground station and the other aircraft. So it will be a totally connected mobility.
Thank you.
And it can't be hacked for the security.
It can't. I was going to ask, in that case, maybe cybersecurity can be an issue even. I mean, those connected cars are protected from hacking?
Oh, yeah, they are encrypted. Of course, there are always hackers. They will try to hack these aircrafts. But the initial idea to be able to make the whole system as encrypted.
That's great. So we are safe. As I will study law at university, let me ask if it would be illegal to have a flying car, or do you think there should be a minimum driving age? Are we going to be able to drive around our 18s?
Well, what we are trying to do is to be able to make it fully autonomous. So you won't even need to fly it, because if you want to fly it, you will need to get a certification or the license, which is like a helicopter license, because it's classified as helicopter. It's a little bit hard to get it. It's not like driving license. It takes like a few years to be able to get it. If you want to use it commercially, it's even more. It takes like 2-3 years. So it's a lot of investment in time and money. So rather than having a lot of pilots or enforcing passengers to have license, we said let's make it autonomous. The system is there. Cars are working fine. The problem is a little bit easier for us because we don't have kids on the block. We don't have dogs, cats, traffic lights, anything. Then the sky is empty. All we need to see is the buildings, and all we need to see is the other birds and flying. Either it's a plane or a helicopter, and it's really easy to identify. Once you identify something, you can prevent an accident. So from day one, we are working on autonomous systems. We have some progress, and of course, there's a lot of steps to take. The regulatory framework, and as a company, you need to make it perfectly fine so it works 100%. So it will be autonomous, hopefully. So you won't even need to get a license.
That's great.
Let's compare the air car to a ground-based car and give a concrete example about the time, speed, and distance. If you could fly from your office roof to the Istanbul airport, for example, how long would it take when you compare it to the wheels?
Well, I live in Kartal. From here to New Airport, I think it's about 40-45 kilometers if I fly, and I can fly there in 20 minutes. If I drive, it will probably take me, in this traffic right now, it will probably take me 2 hours. So mostly in Istanbul or passing Bosporus is problem. I mean, my office is in Kadıköy. If I go from Kadıköy to, let's say, Bebek, it will take 55 minutes with a car and take 7 minutes with a car. And it's always 7 minutes. It never changes. So each time and each day, I think if you go to work with a car and come back, or go to a meeting with a comeback, you can expect to have at least 1 hour time saving. So it can be more depending where you go, but you can save about an hour every day. And we just live 16 hours except the sleeping, and then that's quite a lot of time when you consider. You can read more, spend more time with your family, go to gym, whatever you are doing. We can't buy time, but we can at least help people saving that.
Thank you.
As we get more excited from your answer, we would like to ask, when do you expect to begin commercial operations?
The operations we expect to start in late 2025. So we have a full-size prototype that we have done about 50 testings, and now we are making another prototype, the full-scale prototype. The second one with interior, we can start testing with people on board. Once we have the full-size prototype, it takes about 3 years to get it certified, to make it perfectly work, because it can fail. There are no option failing in aviation. The results will be significant. So the industry is expecting this flying cars to start as early as 2024, but it won't be before 2025. It's always getting postponed.
Yeah.
And what about the price? Will it be an affordable form of daily transport for masses, or will it be a rich guy fantasy? Who knows? Maybe even cheaper than owning a car, maybe.
Yeah, the initial models will be a little bit more expensive, because initially we will have like 5-10 units, and there will always be demand, and there will be a lot of development costs, which is called R&D costs, research and development, that will be significant. So the initial models will be expensive. Just to give an example, the initial Tesla cars were $100,000. Now they're producing for $30,000. So the number goes up, this R&D budget, divide by the numbers that you put in market, the number goes down. But our calculation is that if we come to producing 1,000 units of AirCar, we can reduce cost to $30,000-$40,000, which is just like a Tesla 3 model or a middle-class car, except the taxes. The taxes in Turkey is different. I'm just saying the factory prices, so don't add taxes on this cost. So in long term, we expect AirCar to be at a cost of a mid-range car, mid-price car, hopefully for masses.
Enough seriousness. We prepared some fun and whimsical questions to you. By your leave, we would like to lend them to you. Are you ready?
Oh, okay. Let's go.
I would like to apply to work in your company. What should I do to win your spurs?
Wow. You mean the work for AirCar?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What we're looking for initially is the people have passion and drive to change how we live. So we don't just look at CV about your experience. We look at the personality, how you are willing to develop these new things, because there's a lot of work. So you need to be passionate. And of course, we are looking for exceptional skills, not only just professional. So we want people to willing to work in this, to be able to solve these hard problems. So we are looking really at the passion. And of course, depending on the position, we are also looking for professional experience, if it's a really engineering job. And so we don't mostly look at the college degree or kind of stuff, but we are looking for people who has passion. And if it's a technical job, looking for the technical expertise. So, when people come and work for AirCar, they bring on something.
That's great. I guess I'm in.
Okay. We have open job applications on our website. You can go.
Some of the top technology firms in Silicon Valley, like Google, Apple, Facebook, and others, have very strenuous hiring processes. Here comes one of the weirdest brain teasers to test you. By the way, Amazon used this one. You toss 2 coins. If you get heads with the first coin, you stop. If you get tails, you toss it again. The second coin is tossed regardless. what is the ratio of heads to tails?
Oh, the second, is it 1-to-1?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay, I was so excited while I was preparing this question. So yes, let's do it. Elon Musk is a little witty about his comments. He has unfiltered ideas directly from his mind. He was always laughing at flying cars, and now he's making one, actually a hovering one, because he believes like 6 feet high hovering cannot kill you. It can also go pretty fast. Hashtag fate loves irony. Are you and your team as well thinking of turning any car into a hover car?
Oh, no, we just focus on our product. Elon is always mentioning about flying cars. And like a few days ago, he tweeted, said, I'm dying to make a electric jet, but I don't have any time. My brain, I sometimes feel like my brain get exploded because, for the new projects. So he loves flying his rockets. But I think he's too busy with Tesla and SpaceX, and he's doing enough contribution to humanity. And making a flying car is really hard. It's making it, all the SpaceX and other parties hard, but it's quite challenging. And he said in one tweet, like, we will not gonna get involved until the battery technology is mature enough, and that maturity that he mentions is expected to be released by 2025. But if you enter at that time, it will be too late. There are a lot of companies getting developed. And then one thing you can't buy is time. Even when you're a genius like Elon, it takes time to make something and test it. Sometimes you can't, make it in 1 month. Some jobs take a lot of time. So I think he's not going to enter to flying car race. He's already the richest guy in the world. I think that's all for him. But we will see.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we can call you as like the future Elon Musk from our.
Oh no, he's too big for me. He's a genius. I mean, I'm admiring him. It's really hard to cope with stress. You try to develop something and you try to tell people it's going to happen. I mean, he had a lot of challenge when he introduced the Tesla, and people were skeptical about electric cars, and now everybody's trying to make one. It took him like 15 years to come here, and then he faced many bankruptcies. It's a lot of challenging, and it's really tough to cope with emotional part of pushing people for better. People don't like change. People love their cars, and when you tell them you're gonna fly, they get excited, and then they go like, okay. So it's true. Elon is one of the greatest entrepreneurs, and if I can be 10% like him, I'm gonna be happy.
Thank you for your answer. The flying car has been depicted in many works of fantasy and science fiction. The Jetsons and Back to the Future are some notable examples. Are you feeling more like Jetson-esque or Marty McFly? Why?
Well, Jetsons is, whatever they claim it's happening, they said about smartphones and it happened and other parts. One thing with their flying car, they made it so random. They don't use propellers. Now, we don't know the law of gravity that much. So we are still using propellers or wings. So once we crack the reality of gravity, we may be able to eliminate the propellers and we can produce things just look like Jetsons. But it's going to happen. Sometimes it starts with a small idea, and I think I'm more into Jetsons.
Thank you. So as this conversation covers to the close, what are your parting thoughts for the audience?
I think our audience is young. I believe they'll go to college. I would say, they have fun with life and find a passion. Sooner or later after college, university, you will start working, and you choose wisely what you want to do with your life. And I used to work at a tobacco company, and I said, I'm not gonna waste my time working for a tobacco company. I can do something better with my life, and I can choose it. So I suggest our audience that choose your passion and where you want to work wisely, and you will be happy if you contribute for the humanity you will have a peaceful life. You're going to make money anyway. Don't go after money. Money comes anyway. So choose what you're going to do with your life wisely. And if you help people, if you come up with technologies or products or services that contributes to humanity, when you go to bed every night, you feel better. That's what I observe. So I would say, go for it.
Thank you.
Brilliant thoughts. Well, Mr. Altunbozar, once again, please accept our heartfelt thanks on behalf of İzmir Özel Türk Koleji podcast team. As the founder of the Turkish Republic, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, said, the future is in the sky. And you're really helping us to reach for the horizon on this matter. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with your future endeavors, Mr. Altunbozar.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Everyone, thank you for tuning in today.
Thank you, everyone.